Katie, stop playing with me. What are we doing today? Facebook Live? Hello.
Yes.
Because we did one on Tuesday. Tuesday? Can we get the award? The actual award? So I said on Tuesday that I would do a bit of a roundup from London Fashion Week, and it's been brought to my attention that some of the wording that's used during my Facebook Lives, some people don't understand. So what I'm going to try and do is break it down as much as possible so that it's under your terms and you understand what I mean. But before that, can we just look at this piece? It's not been bought at Carlisle Glass. This is an award given to us.
She is seeming to be an issue. Okay, it's fine, we're back.
Okay, so what do you want me to speak about first, Katie?
Okay, who have you got in your chair?
The beautiful Charlotte Green. Isn't she stunning? Look at her. Look at, she's got she wears the NB like a pro. And did you all know something? Charlotte has grown a foot since the last time I spoke to her. With me. I ate my lunch, went to the toilet and had a cup of coffee all at the same time. Charlotte is a local girl who goes to what school? Dumfries Academy. And she's beautiful. And do you know what I like about her? She's got, look at her skin. Look at that beautiful, young, youthful, pretty, innocent skin. Look at the lip colour as well. None of that's artificial. I know that, and there's going to be a lot of people out there saying, yeah, but I'm not that age. But I just think it's a celebration of women's characteristics that actually, if you only enhance what you have, then we're all beautiful underneath. Or we've all got that element of beauty somewhere, you know. So the feedback has been that people want me to break down what it is I do at London Fashion Week. So hit me with the questions, Miss Diet.
What do you do? What is your title? Okay,
so my main job, my title is assistant.
Okay.
And what that means is there is the head stylist, and in my case, I work with a guy called Sam McKnight, who is the greatest hairdresser the world has.
Wow, that's a pretty big statement.
He is. I mean, he's had 40 odd years as a session artist. He styles the biggest models. He works on the biggest fashion shows that there is in the world. So I don't really think there's anything else to kind of clarify. And he also has potentially the strongest team. So, and I'm really fortunate to be part of that. And what an assistant's role is that we are instructed what to do with the hair, which has been manufactured by Sam himself. He's created a look, and our job is to recreate it on the 100 models for the catwalk. So we normally get approximately 3 hours to do that, and for example, there may be up to 40 hairdressers depending on how many models there are. So as an assistant, my job takes me from being the person that I am as salon owner and I guess boss, back to being Louise, who is going to be who is a Nelson Brown assistant, and she does the same for me that I do for Sam, if that makes sense.
It does.
So my job basically is to take instruction, do exactly as I'm told.
Are you listening, Louise?
Be alert at all times. Always wear my toe belt. So that's 2 profiles straight away for you. And be punctual, be ready, you know, don't sit down and relax and have a jolly old good time, because that's not what it's about.
Or check your phone.
Phones are banned backstage.
What do you make of that?
Tell them the use of mobile phones backstage, if you were to pull up your mobile phone, then there's an opportunity for you to be pulled from the team, and that sounds quite harsh, but there's a reason. The reason is that in the past, people have very stupidly taken pictures backstage and tweeted them, Facebooked them, Instagrammed them, when the show's not even started, and actually have ruined the whole show and the whole season for the designer. And these guys work tirelessly for months trying to put the collection together. And hair and makeup and nails is just kind of the sort of crowning, the finishing part, the thing that brings it all together. So that's what I do as an assistant. And you know, there's also a certain respect that you have to have and a passion for hair, because these start times can be 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. They can go on to midnight, and there is no real such thing as, of course, take it. There is no such thing as, can I get a break? Can I go to can I sit down? Oh, I'm on my lunch in half an hour. Or, oh, can I go and get my bus? That doesn't exist. You're there until it finishes. So it requires a certain type of person, I guess, to be an assistant and a level of commitment. And that is something that I know not everybody has, because we're not all the same. But I am all over it like a rash.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So
what
are you going to do on show?
Well, quickly. First of all, I'd like to show you a few little things. These are some things that I've had made from the master himself. This is Sam McKnight, if no one knows him. And of course, below him, he's teasing the... Not him. Go back to the other picture. Go back to the other picture. Below him, he's styling the hair of Cara Delevingne at Burberry, which was on Saturday afternoon, and you can see above there's the Burberry girls and boy, and yeah, I mean, it was an amazing show, because it's my mistake. Back to me. The reason it was so iconic is because the designer for Burberry, Christopher Bailey, has stepped down after 10 years of styling the clothing brand, and 10 years ago to where it is now, which has been an amazing achievement. And it was a real moment to be part of it, because it was a farewell to him, and he bowed out in honour with a lot of grace, smashed the clothing beyond. He has shaped British fashion as we know it, the styling that Burberry has, and put them on the menu, as well as come up with some ingenious brand new fabrics that are only unique to Burberry. So of course they wanted to go out in style, and there was 85 models, and it was in a car park, and all the glamorous locations. And yeah, there was the front row was Kate Moss, Anna Wintour, Titchy Strider. There was the One Direction boys, to name just a few. And yeah, it was absolute spine tingling the way they did it, and this is just kind of the aftermath. So this is what Cara wore. She walked the runway to end the show, to end Christopher Bailey's career at Burberry, which was kind of monumental. And you can see she's got the kind of almost Jason in the Typical Raincoat jacket with the classic Burberry check in the inlay. And I don't know who that is. If anybody knows who that is, there could be a prize for the first person to guess who that is. Answers on a postcard, fingers on the buzzer. Okay, so what else was it doing? What else was it doing? The day before, we worked for another designer called Ryan Lowe, who's a really cool designer. He models and included models and mannequins. And it sounds odd that, but actually the mannequins were superb. They were like really cool traditional mannequins, and we did the hair for these dolls, and they wore the clothing, and they were static, and they were amazing. Here's one of the looks. So it was like it was a wrapped up ponytail, and look, that's a backstage photograph taken by Mr. McKnight himself.
Who can you spot?
This is Jennifer. She's one of Sam's core team. This is Fabio. He's also on the core. This is Nelson Brown from Eggle Feckin. And yeah, that's a typical backstage scene.
Great.
And the show Roland Mouret, I think. Did you take that? Can you go and get that frame from the wall? There's another one. I'll just do Charlotte's here really quick. It's the one, the blue one.
Here it comes.
Yeah. So this was the show that's a different show. This was the show we did on Sunday and early call time, and that was at the National Gallery on the South Bank, and you can see what Sam's signature was. It was this kind of S-bend. It was almost a play to the 70s, and the girls looked amazing. So, what is Nelson going to do today? Well, on Charlotte, she's got such gorgeous hair. I wanted to kind of recreate something really simple, because as I've said to my team, hair does not have to be complicated. It's the way you wear it. And it can be a simple ponytail that's placed in the middle part of the neck. It can be something extravagant with lots of explosion and lots of power. Or it can be something really classic. And at Burberry, the brief was for it to look young, cool, quite sporty. So all the girls were just in their natural partings, which you can see Charlotte's there. Everything was gathered back, relatively tight, nothing was brushed. So there was a little bit of texture created in the hair first of all, just with hands. So you can see how that's been achieved with Charlotte's hair. It's just got a little bit of movement in it. And the hair was just pulled back with the hand into the lower part of the neck. Nothing too tight, just with the fingers. Really easy. And do you know something? If this was loose, it was loose. And when we put the ponytail in, it goes right on the nape. So low.
Yeah.
If you see that, what's happening is when I pinch that,
See that?
it just gives it a bit of definition and stops it being slick, because it's not really to be slick, it's to be loose.
Yeah.
And I'll do the same on this side. Just pull it out, and you can see if you look in the mirror, that instantly gives Charlotte's hair a little bit of something else. It just gives it a little bit of detail. And this was what we used. This isn't exactly the same one. I've got these here in Scotland, but just a classic, good old-fashioned bobble. And it goes in.
Which normally you're not a fan of the bobble.
Well, the thing is, Casey, until Sam McKnight tells me it's cool, I'm not going to treat it. Okay. So, then, if we just look, it's just about the detail. It not being too tight. Pieces dropped out, they dropped out.
I think I could do that at home.
Exactly, and that's the thing. You know, that's why I thought I would transfer it and translate it to be really complicated. And actually, do you want me to do it again, Katie? Just to show you again, or
No.
do you think I've got it?
I've got it.
Right. So I'm just going to finish off with a little bit of...
What if you didn't want to see the bobble?
I could cover it with hair.
Could you show us how to do that?
Yeah.
After this look?
Just grab a piece of hair that's going to be thick enough. Like that. And you just disguise the bobble by wrapping it around the hair. And simple curvy grip. In and through.
Lovely.
But obviously that's not how the look was.
No.
Any questions? Any comments at all?
Comments, yes, by Jenny, from Jenny.
No, not my number one fan.
Number one fan.
Looks like it. What's she
She's
saying?
lip reading from the swimming pool.
I hate you. So, let's get Charlotte to stand up because she's very tall. She's got her foot. outside the nibber. Perfect. And Katie will reposition herself. Sporty kind of hairdo. You know, it's unfinished. Ponytail's nice and small. There's a little bit of texture in there. Just rotate all the way around, darling. And what's nice is that all these bits are loose. You know, so it's really it dresses. So next week, can you hear me from over there? Next week I will be doing Next week I'll be doing a Facebook Live from a city called Paris.
Very
Do
good.
you know where Paris is? Charlotte. France. She's not just a pretty face. So we will be doing it on, I don't know what day. What day did we do it the last time when you put me on the salon live?
It was a Thursday.
Should we do it again on that day?
Yes. Well, it depends on your schedule.
We've got exactly the same schedule. So I will reconvene with Facebook. However,
yes.
we will be doing something from Paris. It might be from a boulanger, or it might be from a pub. Who knows? Or it might be from a show. Like even the Quiff knows. For your time today, and ask me. You can leave it after the Facebook Live, and yeah, peace out. Thanks, gorgeous. Good girl.